Hello, hello. It says I'm live. How are you this evening? This is Mary Lou Foster. And as promised, I'm here at 7 p.m. on a Monday evening. Kind of a different time. Usually I would be at Choral Society practice, but we took today off because it is a holiday. So I'm home. And I'm like, ooh, this is a good time. Turn that down. A good time to do this live so that I can show you these cards. This is part of, and that to me has always been blurry. See if I can, get it to cooperate with me a little better. These cards are in my next card class to go, and I'm calling it Courage and Faith because that is the name of the stamp set. I'll quit messing with it. If you are watching, if you will comment that you're here, I will write a comment. Then I'll know that you're here so I can greet you. UTCHING. Okay. Well, this class is going to take a little bit, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time chit-chatting. I can kind of do it as I go. There are 5 cards. We are using the Courage and Faith Clean Stamp Set. This is a gorgeous set of scriptures and then some decorative stamps. We're going to use just about every one of them, and the masterfully made paper. That paper is 12 by 12, and the 12 by 12 sheets in whole are a bit overwhelming. As you can see, there's lots of color, lots of flowers. The backs are kind of the torn paper look that are layered. I guess that used to be called boho. I don't know what it is now. Even the front. So what I liked about this class is that it took these huge sheets of paper and kind of broke them into bite-sized pieces so they weren't quite as overwhelming. Your card kit will have the kits to make these 5 cards. We'll do the cutting of the paper, because what you get for your $30 is the stamp set. I felt like this was one that you're going to want to have it in your craft room. I will hang on to this one. It will not be a retired item in my sales, because I'm always needing some inspiration cards, a card to wish someone, to let them know that I'm thinking about them. And the first card we're going to make, you'll also have some embellishments, some ribbon. I'm doing the cutting. This is print work, excuse me, that I have print on 8.5 by 11 paper. And I will email that to you with the PDF instructions. But for your card kits, I went ahead and did the cutting because it involved dies that were not part of this bundle. And I didn't think it was fair to just send you the print work for you to have to print yourself and then do your own cutting. So I've done that. You'll get embellishments, ribbon, the print work, the PDF. This video, always available if you have questions. One word, the ribbon you get is not going to be this exact ribbon. I didn't actually own the ribbon duo combo pack. I used the sheer ribbon combo pack because I still had 2 colors that were included in this paper, the Lemon Lolly and the Azure Afternoon. So that's what I've used on my inspiration sample cards. But you'll get the combo pack ribbon. Oh, probably a yard or enough to tie your bows or whatever it is that we need to do. Some of these are fun fold cards. This first one is a fun fold, and I wanted to show it first. I don't think it's going to take longer, but there's a little bit of thought that needs to go into it. I've already done your scoring. said, I've done the cutting of the print work, done the cutting of your cardstock. All of the sizing for these are in your PDF. I don't have to sit here and tell you what these are all cut at. This is the part that takes a little bit of thought, because this is a side fold card, which is a little different for us. And then this smaller mini card is actually going to be mounted inside of it. And I've done the scoring for you, so your job then is to make sure that you have it lined up so that it will close nicely. This piece is the inside layer. So I think what I want to do first is go ahead and kind of get my front started. I'll mount the designer series paper, and this is one of those sheets. When you see the whole 12 by 12 sheet, it's actually two. Come on, I hate it when it does that. You notice I just use my finger to roll it along and encourage it. I don't know what I choked on. And this 12 by 12 sheet has a pattern border on both ends, and so I had to cut it in half and kind of trim it up some to get it the piece that I wanted. And then we're going to go ahead and mount this one on the front, because we can. And I always just put a little around the edges. Make sure there is kind of a direction to yours. There are stems for these flowers, so you might want to pay attention and make sure your fold is to the left. And I'm going to go ahead and mount my little liner. What did you see that? Kind of got a sneak peek, the decoration on the inside. A little bit of a surprise. And at first I didn't think it would work. I thought it might be too thick. Alright, so now I am ready to kind of position it. I want it to be snug here on the right, but not too far over. So then the fun part is getting your adhesive on here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the edges, because we don't want this piece to fall off. And I don't want to stick it down too firmly until I know for sure. So I'm holding it up back here. You can't really see that. I'm not touching the cardstock. Let's see, it stuck before I was really ready, because it needed to be pulled out just a little bit more. And it did tear. Nice thing about it, it'll be covered up. Come on. So you probably need to cheat just a little bit. You can see where the fold is, and you want it to kind of stick out just a little bit. That's much better. If it doesn't want to fold the way you want it, just give it a little bone folder rub here to. And then, like I said, I've already cut your scripture, and it's going to go on the what is now the front of the card. And the cool thing about this ribbon, you can decide if you want it to be where mine is on the left side of the sentiment. And I liked that better than around this part. It's the yellow. So you could just do it around this part and have your ribbon right here. I decided to do it around the bigger part. And I am going to tie a bow, so I want to give myself enough ribbon to do that. you can slide it around if you want it to kind of hold that little front flap in place. Oops, I need a little more here. Trying to hurry, let's just slow down. Everybody has different ways of tying their ribbon. Some will put just a plain piece of ribbon, come on, all the way around their front and lap it so when they stick their bow on, the ends of the ribbon are covered. I just go for it and tie bow. As you can see, I'm going for it. Oh, look at that. You get the right length and everything. So it kind of helps to hold that front closed just a little bit, and I didn't tie it so tight that it won't move. So let's talk about the inside now. You will have in your kit 3 flowers that I have punched out of the Petal Park Builder Punch. Kind of unexpected. I didn't have the dies. My inspiration for this card class came from Rhonda Wade, and I didn't have the dies that she used. But notice how I'm just kind of roughing these flowers up so they're not just straight, plain flowers. And I'm going to use some glue dots to layer them together. I'm having trouble with those glue dots not sticking. Do y'all have trouble with that? I don't know if they got hot in the mail, if they just weren't sticky to begin with. I think I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on here now because I'm ready to actually stick that inside the card. And I didn't think that the card would lay flat with it in there, but surprise, surprise, it did. And then, for a little bit more fun, we are going to use the adhesive back sparkle gems. You'll get some of these to embellish. And I'm going to put one in the center of this flower. And even though when you look at these, you think, well, those colors don't work with this card, it's amazing how they pick up the colors and it blends really very nicely. So I'm going to use 2 of the big ones, and I'm just going to do one out here. That, my friends, is the first card. No stamping, so don't panic about that. We will be stamping on cards, but I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works, my soul knows it very well. That's from Psalm 139. If you've not ever read that psalm, it's quite long, but it's one of my favorite. All right, let's move on. Stick these in the envelope. The next card, I might have messed up just a little bit, so we'll talk about that. And I decided it really wasn't a mess up as much as it wasn't made the way the inspiration card was made. Goodness, I'm not sure why I have so many flowers. That might be a little bit too many. So here's what, I've just got stuff on everywhere. This is how mine turned out. Today I'm going to make it correctly, or what I think is probably correctly. Mine ended up with the square mounted here on the inside, layered on the flower part. Because what I did is I adhered my piece of designer series paper to the front, and then I punched out my square. Well, technically that wasn't really correct. I was supposed to punch out my square from the designer series paper and then mount it on the front of the card, which gives it a totally different look, because now I have my let your faith be bigger than your fear that will go in the middle, but it won't be on flowers unless you can choose to put it on the flowers. This is going to be your card, so you can do it however you wish, but I'm going to do it differently for this card, of course, because I like to do that to you. The picture that you have will have the square cut through all the layers. I stuck that to myself. Now this is a top fold card, so it was 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And my designer series paper is supposed to be 4 1/4. Looks like that probably this cardstock is, some of our cardstock is just an inch bigger, probably a 1/16. So I can put this in my trimmer and trim that off, but I'm not going to do it right this minute. This will be mounted on dimensionals to give it some depth. And can't wait then to show you what it's going to look like when you've done it. With this mounted on just the front and not all the way the inside. I kind of liked it on the inside though, because it served as the sentiment, and then you could write all around it. So like that. And then once again you have flowers that have been punched out with the Petal Park Builder Punch. This time you have these lovely lemon lime twist. And this, I am not going to rough this one up. I'm just going to do it nice and neat and clean. You can do however you wish. Layer these all up. And I'm going to do, once again, I'm going to put some Stampin' Seal on the back of it. But you do want to be careful when you've done it. Nope, you don't have to worry about it. And then these are just going to stick up. I'm going to use glue dots. If you don't have glue dots in your adhesive arsenal, you really do need some. Some of my ladies don't use the glue dots, and they're trying to put Stampin' Seal on the back of these small things, and it's a hot mess. That's when you end up with adhesive everywhere. But these glue dots are meant to be small. So I just took my fingers. Now to embellish this, I want to warn you, you are going to get one little butterfly. This is the only card the butterfly is on, and it was a last minute inspiration because I just felt like, because of all these flowers, that you needed a butterfly. So I'm going to make sure that it's secure in an envelope with the rest of your supplies. Then we're going to embellish with, how about if we use the darker ones this time? Let's put the big one right here, and a little one right here, and then the center of the flower needs one. So that's your triangle. These are so pretty. I could look up the color, but I'm not going to take the time. Now, because we've done it the way we did it, let your faith be bigger than your fear, we are going to need to embellish the inside of our card. So I have included a small strip of the designer series paper that you can use. And we're going to do a little bit of stamping. And because I'm going to have to trim that little bit off, I'm going to sort of cheat to the left. So remember, I said it has these extra branches. So the only ink color that you need for this card kit is Pretty Peacock. And if you don't have Pretty Peacock, there are plenty of colors that will coordinate with, I think I'm going to do it this way, with this paper. Like I told you, it's some busy, busy paper. But if I do that, and that leaves you space to write. And get this cleaned up. Yep, I think I'm just going to use the one. Now, I thought about coloring it with Stampin' Blends, but remember, when you color the inside of your card that doesn't have a liner, it bleeds through to the back side. So I would not do that unless you have markers. Our water-based markers do not bleed through. So that is card number 2. 2. You'll have this extra piece that you can figure out what you want to do with. You could put it on the inside, but you can't really write on it. So that was why I just like, well, I'm just going to give it to them, and then you figure out what to do with it. It's pretty paper. So when you compare the 2 cards, this one now, and notice that the paper is different because it depends on where your piece landed as to what your piece looks like. But trust me, it all came from the same sheet. So, see the difference? You've got space to write when you've done it this way, and it's kind of a different look. But I think probably this is your best bet when you're sending it to people. Depends on how much you want to tell them. Okay, let's do this beautiful Azure Afternoon one next. I think probably that's my favorite. One of my favorite colors. It's just so pretty. Okay, once again, we have a top fold card. We have some ribbon going on, and I did wrap it all the way around the front of the card. So I'll be sure and give you enough so that you can do that. We're using the Be of Good Courage. And there are times when you need to encourage your friends to be strong, hold on, be of good courage. The Lord has got you. So, I think if you'll notice the edges of the torn paper, I was going to say that might help you determine which is up and which is down, but they've kind of got it going every which direction. The only reason I chose this orientation is because these look like mountains. So, once again, your piece will vary a little bit depending on where it fell on the sheet when I cut it out. So you'll just have to kind of play with it and turn it different directions to figure out how you would like to place it. Because I can't really tell you. I'm going to make mine be mountains. The reason I'm having a card class to go only in September, Stanley and I are taking a cruise. We actually leave home on the 19th of September to spend the night around the DFW airport so we can fly to Newark, New Jersey the next day, because we decided not to risk missing that cruise by any flight issues. The cruise leaves out of Newark, New Jersey on Thursday the 21st. So, we'll fly into Newark, spend the night, go to the ship, and leave on a 10-day cruise. Notice I used a hole punch, a simple, everyday. You don't have to use that great big fancy one like I just used. If you've got just a normal, everyday hole punch, you will be fine. Because you're going to want to punch holes in your Azure Afternoon label. Now this was the part that took me a minute, because I wanted to tie my bow over here on the left. So I'm going to make it go down into the hole on the right, and then up over on the left. And I'm going to need a pretty good tail because I will be tying a bow, and it's going to go, get those crazy things out of the way, inside the card. Oh, well, I reckon that's as long as that's going to be, because that is the end of that ribbon. So what I ended up doing to keep these two together is I went ahead and put my dimensionals on the top and the bottom. This piece. I did not catch the ribbon. It's only on the cardstock, so the ribbon will lay right between it. And I can go ahead and mount it on this pretty texture paper. Texture shimmer paper. I don't know if you can see the shimmer in the light, I'll shimmer it around for you. Can you see the shimmer? It has lines. Reminds me of tin because of those lines. And now it's a little easier to work with because you've got some weight. And this piece does slide around for you. And there's probably a way that you can figure out, if you don't want to do it this way, of how to do it. But I'm not going to try to figure out an alternate. Oops. This bow can't be as big as this other one because my tail is shorter. Now, I can slide this up and down as I figure out where I would like for it to end up. Then, I'll show you another little scrapbooking trick. Use your pokey tool. Scoop up some glue dots and sneak a glue dot up underneath there, because you can do that with the end of this pokey tool. How about that? And that will hold your texture shimmer paper in place, and it's not just going to run up and down the card or fall off or get in the way. So now you have the front of your card built. You know what, that's stamped in Asia Afternoon, but I'm going to stamp it in Pretty Peacock because I don't want to get up and get the Asia Afternoon. I told you there was only one color of ink. Pretty Peacock was one of the colors that had been an in color, and it came back as a core color. So I still have this in my stash. Typically don't get rid of my inks very fast. So I was able to pull it back out. They didn't really recommend that. They said, oh, you need to buy new ones. But I'm like, sure you do. A little bit sloppy stamping. We'll figure out which color we like better. As I can stick this right down on my label now. Ooh, I don't know. This one maybe shows up a little better. Then in your kit you will also have a heart that I punched out of, I made notes for myself, Country Bouquet Punch. So that's one that's in the annual catalog. Kind of a Valentine's set. You wouldn't expect that you would be using it now. And I use shimmer paper, and this is Pretty Peacock shimmer paper. So look how pretty that card is. Alright, so for the let's do our embellishments. Well, you really don't have any on this one. If you have extra and you want to, I think I will on this card. I know why, because that already is shimmery. But I'm going to do it right there. Add another layer of shimmer. Well, let's do the inside. You know how we use, I've managed to use all of my blocks. We'll use the other branch. I don't want to pull in any other stamp sets, so if there's a scripture that you would like to use out of this stamp set on the inside, you could totally do that. But what I was thinking I might do for this one is just stamp this a couple of times. Make sure that it's inked well. And close this before I end up decorating that card. Now I could just go all the way around, but I think that would be like too much. It gives me room to write or room to find another stamp sentiment if you would like to on the inside. Just adds interest that coordinates with the outside. So that is our third card. Oh, we have 2 more to go. I tried to save one of the easy cards for the end. Probably this is the easiest one, and it does involve some of the artwork that I was talking about, so it will come to you already die cut. These are the Countryside dies. Countryside Inn, I believe is what it's called. Did I make myself a note? I did not. Tried to do that so I would know. And we have our designer series paper, and once again, depending on where your piece comes out of the sheet is the look that you get. I really liked this with the blue, but for tonight's card I chose to go with the more solid flowers. This for sure, and the one we're going to use on the next card, is a very busy sheet of paper. And I didn't think I liked it. And I didn't buy it for the longest, but I finally gave in and bought 1 package. Well, I've had to order another package to do this class because I ran out of some of it. I'm still taking sign-ups. Technically, you have until Wednesday, but we can work on that. It's not, look what I did. I just put that on the inside. Well, fine then. I'll just fold the card the other way. That's what happens when you talk and don't pay attention. It's going to have a white liner. Let me stick that in there. This is already die cut for you, so that's another reason I didn't just send a sheet of print work. Why I did it for you, because I'm pretty sure you don't have these dies. You too can own these dies. All you have to do is order them. But for this card class, I just kind of wanted simple and easy, so that you would have everything you needed. And they're beautiful cards. It's kind of hard to tell until you see them in person. So the cool thing about this, after you've done all your cutting, you could mass produce these. Like if you have a prayer circle that you meet with and pray for people, you could totally write them a note as a group. And I saw something go flying. I don't know if it was the other. There should be 2 vellum leaves. Like I said, I saw something go flying, and I'm sure I'll find it after the video because that's how things work. But for now, we're going to work with 1. And this one I think kind of needs to be crinkled up and not quite so straight and flat, plain. So this is Fresh Freesia. My favorite color, in case you didn't know, but you probably know. I like purple, orchid, all those colors, so this card is beautiful. But like I was saying, if you have a prayer circle and you want to send a card to people that says we prayed for you, this would be perfect. Write a little note on the inside. Like I said, you're going to have, I believe, that's just mounted on the corner of this panel right here. And like I said, I only ended up with 1 vellum leaf. Technically, there should be 2. And we'll do that. We're going to use the clear ones this time. Of course, the flower needs a center. That helps kind of pull it out. And put 1 there. I need to count how many I'm using so I'll know how many to give you. Of course, you could use any rhinestones or any gems that you have of your own to embellish these with. I just want to kind of give you some to start out with, and if you run out, just use what you have. Oops, that's a hot mess. Let's do that. And you're going, oh, it's too long, it's too long. Have no fear. I'll show you what I do when it's too long. I mount it and I trim it. And I'm going to try to get that. Oops, now I'm stuck to it. It's sticky. I went off the edge of the paper. Alright, come on, roller. I go through this stuff like water. I'm busy making crafts, cards. On this cruise, it's sponsored by some Stampin' Up! Ladies, and we'll be crafting at sea. Look at that. How simple is that? And you're like, well, I'm buying a stamp set, but I haven't used it much. Well, that's okay. We're fixing to use it, and we've used the flowers on the inside, and you're going to have it then. How about we say, may the Lord bless you and keep you? And that's what this one is on the inside. Because that is our wish. This is number 624. It's actually a benediction. Choral Society sings it at the end of every concert. I'm not going to decorate the inside of that one, but I did the one we made today. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. So what a blessing to pray that over someone. Alright, that, my friends, is the 4th card. Now we're going to get to the one that's a little bit more tedious. This one you've seen a lot in the advertisements. It's a beautiful card. It has lots of paper on it. Lots of that brightly colored paper, kind of cut into smaller, more manageable, easier on the eye. There's a dog in my yard. We don't own a dog. So for this one, you have a liner for the front, because you're going to mount your pieces of Designer Series paper on that liner before you mount it on your card. So I just always kind of do my lining up to see sort of how it's going to go. Look how pretty that is. And I'm only going to work with this front piece for right now, because this one you kind of have to do a lot of measuring with your eyes so that you have it matted kind of the same amount all the way around. I start with the bigger piece. There's no rhyme nor reason. There's no right or wrong. Whatever makes sense to you. And once again, your flowers do have a little bit of direction. I accidentally mounted them upside down on something, and you can definitely tell. So there's only going to be like a 1/16 of an inch edge of that white sticking out. A little bit too far. Just ever so slightly, and you're like, well, why do you even do that? It actually, in person, you can see the difference. You can tell, because it gives it some dimension. And now for this piece, you're eyeing it up along the bottom, and you can leave a little bit bigger space between the pieces of paper. I did that because then you can see them better. And if one side is prettier to you than another, then just use the side you like the best. And these pieces are cut at like 7/8 and 3/8, and so we get to stamp, may the Lord bless you and keep you. And I already have it mounted on a block because I just used it, but I had it mounted already. And you'll get these labels. They are from the Something Fancy dies. That's a really nice set. There's 3 different shapes, and they're layered like this. You can cut 2 or 3 of them out and then layer them because they're the same shape. Pretty cool. So, just cleaned up. I didn't clean up very good. Well, my goal was to be done in an hour, and I'm going to meet that goal, I think. Oh, come on. Mount this. Just kind of eye that up. And then this is mounted on the card on dimensionals. Well, let's mount that on our card base now. So we can finish the card. All the cutting instructions will be in your PDF instructions. I will email those to you so you can print them out to your heart's content. And we'll set up delivery. If I deliver, that's great. If you want to come get it, that's great. If I need to mail it, that's even better, because these can go anywhere in the United States. It's not limited to just Texas or the area around me. I would love to share what I love with friends that don't live around me. One reason I do card classes to go. And this one would be a perfect one, because you don't need a whole lot of stuff. Even if you just had black ink, this one would be perfect. Now, you're going to need a bow. Gasp. No, I'm not tying your bow. I'm giving you the ribbon, and you can tie your own bow. You're at your house. Oops, in class, I tie bows. I think I spoil my ladies, but they like it that way, and so do I. I want them to be happy. I want them to enjoy what we do. And it doesn't have to be a huge bow, because it's just kind of meant to be a small detail. It's not meant to be like the centerpiece. Sometimes you want your bow to kind of catch the eye and be the centerpiece. I'm going to put it up on the vellum. I should have probably stamped a little bit further down on the tag. There you go. How about that? We'll decorate the inside here in a minute. So, on this card, I kind of mixed and matched my gems, because I could. And I don't know where I put the third one. Thought 2. Let's put number 3. We'll go back to the big one. What if we put it right over there? It kind of surrounds the little tag. Okay, what do you think? That's the 5th card. I'll lay them all out so that you can give them a peek again. This one does not have a liner on the inside because it's already on a white card base. So I gave you a strip of paper to put on the inside. And then if you want to stamp some of the branches, flowers, another scripture, handwrite a message, that's totally up to you. None of these were made to be birthday cards. They could be. I mean, this one would be fine to the Lord bless you and keep you, and it'd be a birthday card. Alright, so we've got that pretty card. And we've got that pretty card. And we have that pretty card. I think I'll put it over here. Then we have that one. And I will take another picture to include in the instructions so it's a little clearer. And this is the only side fold card, even though we've got top fold, we have side fold, and just the normal card, A2 or something. Alright, that's the class. I will put details in the description so you'll know where to go to find more information. The class is $30. all you got to do is text me, comment. You can email me. If you aren't on my email list, you need to be. That's the best way to keep up with what's going on. And my email should be easy enough to find here on my Facebook page, but I can certainly put that in the comments also. That's the best way to know what my events are and what I have coming up. But that's going to be September's class. Don't forget the new September to December mini catalog goes live Wednesday for you. And if there's something you've got your eye on, I would not take too long to get it ordered. There are some things that are already back ordered because the demonstrators have loved it. We don't get to purchase unlimited amounts. We're limited like to one of the bundles, but we can get 2 or 3 packages of the paper and the embellishments, what they call the consumables, during pre-order, and we've been able to pre-order for a month. So I know the autumn paper is currently back ordered, but only until next week, so that's not too bad. So that is all that I have for you today. I'm going to go ahead and end my video. I think my signal is kind of skipping in and out. I appreciate your time. And just reach out if this is one that you would like. Let's get you on my list so I can get it to you before I leave on my trip. But technically, your deadline is Wednesday, so let me know. Have a great night.